welcome everybody. We are back for another episode of the Marian Homeschool Assistance Program Student Council Mental Health Podcast. That kind of rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? It's like a real name. That's really good. So we get together once in a while and we record these little 10 or 15 minute bits on various topics that high school students might be facing. I have with me today 3 Marian Homeschool Assistance Program Student Council members. I'll let them introduce themselves and then I'll introduce the topic.
My name is Sophia. I'm a junior in high school and I'm 16 years old.
My name is Jenna. I am a senior here and I am 17.
My name is Abbie. I'm also a senior and I'm also 17.
Awesome stuff. Well, the topic for today has to do with something that is a challenge that everybody faces, but that in many ways high school students face it for the first time. And when I say that, it's not that younger kids don't have to, it's that a lot of it is done for them. Mm-hmm. They're not as independent in having to do it. And that topic is time management, organizing the time that you have with the demands on your schedule, which is a big issue for high school kids because a lot of things have changed, right? You've got more independent education, you're in more activities, you're starting to work, there's a lot of things going on. So with that as a kind of a toss of a topic, what are some challenges that you guys have faced as high school students with time management? What are some hints you have for people? And how has it either helped you or hurt you, but depending on whether you're good at it or not?
I'd say for me, something I struggled with going from middle school to high school is like what you were saying, Mr. Ott, about having in the past having it like done for me. Like my mom was the one who primarily managed that for me, and so then I got into high school and either kind of expected that or just was like, yeah, I can just coast off of what I had in middle school.
Sure.
So when that happened, then I kind of let stuff slide a little bit, and then it would not get done, and in turn that would stress me out a lot. So I've tried like making sure I'm using a planner, either my phone calendar or like a paper planner, which is something I've tried to implement more this year even, as I continue to learn more about time management myself.
Yeah, something that's everyone's going to need to learn at some point is how to effectively study or effectively practice whatever they're doing. Just put away all the distractions, focus on what you're doing, and get it done in a timely manner so that you're not struggling and stressed when it comes time when it's due and it's not done. Just getting it done early really, really helps.
I think the key part or like misconception about time management is a lot of people think that, if I just had more time to do something that I would be able to do it, or I'd be able to do it effectively, or if I had more time to do this, or I had more time to do that. And it's really not about how much time you have, it's about how you are a steward of that time that you have. So like a lot of people underestimate the power of an hour. It's just the power of an hour.
That's
they
so
underestimate
good.
the power of an hour.
I've never heard that before. I like that.
Yeah, I just got that. That was fun. But like you can get so much done in an hour, and for a lot of people, they like regard that as like maybe a very small fraction of their day. But if you maximize on that time, it could be a small fraction of a very productive day, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So time management has been like an ongoing conversation between me and my mom for probably like 10 years now. I'm not even kidding you. Like she's very time oriented, and so I'm just learning just along everyone else. So
okay, let me ask you about that, because a couple of you said this, and I'm sure it was true for you too. When you were younger, your mom does all that, right? It's done for you, but your mom has been teaching you how to do this. Has she been like, and I'm not throwing anyone's mom under the bus here, okay? But sometimes parents are super rigid about schedule.
Right.
And it can kind of drive you like a little bit nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys know some people, I've known some people who by the time they get to set their own time schedule, they just go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you navigate that with your mom if she's... I say nice things about her because we're on video now.
Of
and
course,
so, yeah,
of course. I would never, like, there's nothing bad to say about her.
Of course.
Yeah, so I am a very not very like time oriented person. I think I get that from my dad. It's like a generational curse at this point because his mom has it and her mom had it, and just like it is seriously. I come by it honestly for sure. But I'm very go with the flow. I like spontaneity, and my mom is very scheduled, very punctual. She doesn't like to be late. She really like is a very strong advocate for productivity. So to your point about teaching, I wouldn't say that she's taught me so much as like really tried to instill in me the same values, but I would say that like her technique, maybe I should spend a little bit more time like exploring other techniques, because she was just trying to impart upon me what she thought was the best way. And like, I mean, I have ADHD, so like planners don't really work for me, and I'm trying to, you know, make it so that they do work for me. But you know, that like that was how she taught me to do it, and that's not how it worked for me. And so that caused like a little bit of problems there, and like just my time management sort of fell to the wayside, and just so it was not so much teaching as it was like her just trying to guide me, I guess. I'm not really sure how to explain it.
Yeah, no, it's good. And certainly parents in general, and this is for everybody out there, parents in general will basically try to do what worked for them because they think that's what works. And that's not a bad thing, but sometimes it can create some tension. And so I think what I hear you saying is, yeah, that's great. If your parents are helping you with this, great, but you also have to know yourself.
Right.
And you have to begin to find your own ways of doing that.
Right.
Yeah, that's really good. So, like, one of the things that is interesting to me about time management, the first thing everybody's going to say is, well, make a schedule, make a list. Okay, we all know about that. We don't need to talk about that.
Right.
How do you guys manage the transition from here to there? And what I mean is the power of an hour. I will never forget this. Okay, at 2:00 I'm going to start doing this, but at 2:00 that little Debbie oatmeal cream pies sound pretty good. I'll just get that before I start. And oh, my phone just dinged. And oh, what's that sound? Oh, I should let the dog out. And now it's 2:30. Do you guys encounter that kind of stuff?
Yep.
And what are some strategies you guys have for people for that?
I would say just I'm prioritizing what needs to be done. So I know for me, sometimes I can get caught up in, oh, I have this whole long list of things that need to get done. Okay, well, yeah, that needs to be done by the end of the month, but what needs to be done today? So figuring that out, like, okay, so now if we have used up 30 minutes of our hour, so what do I need to prioritize in that 30 minutes I have? That's still a good amount of time. So whether that be completing an assignment for like writing or math or whatever like you have, like figuring out what needs to be done. And I think that's something that I've had to learn is prioritizing my deadlines and figuring out, okay, well, if I have a deadline on Thursday, then like I'll work on that earlier in the week, because if I have another deadline on Sunday, then I can work on that on Thursday, actually. Like figuring
Do you ever find yourself like, yeah, but I like that thing on Sunday, that's more fun, I'll do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
very much.
is that
Yes.
what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Wow.
sure.
That's
For
good.
sure.
Yeah, you didn't answer the little Debbie problem though, because like if I need a little Debbie, I got to go. What works for you, Abbie?
Precisely what she was just saying. One, like, put up your phone. That's a very simple way to not get distracted by it. But also, yeah, disregard which assignments you feel like doing, the easier ones, the more fun ones. Figure out which ones need to get done at that moment. What's going to cause you the most stress later on?
Yeah. Do you, when you do the priorities, or you know, you have other things that you want to do any of you use like a personal reward system? Like, I'm going to do this, and then I will not indulge. That sounds terrible, but you know, then
Take a nap.
then so undervalued in the world is taking a nap. It's like it should be more than celebrated. It should almost be required. But that's a different podcast. We'll get to that one a different time. But do you do anything like that to reward yourself, or to kind of set up a
Yeah,
if then sort of thing?
I think like sometimes I'll try, like I am very quick to forget things, and so, like, I think I have a little bit of ADHD, like what Sophia was saying, and so I'll bounce around from one task and just half finish each task. So if I really need to focus on something, like, it's like, okay, then instead of going and grabbing that little Debbie, because it sounds good right now, I'm going to focus on this. Once I get done, I get that little Debbie when I'm done. Like, I think, like, prioritizing, like, don't, like, starve yourself. If you need food, go eat your food. Like, don't do that. But, like, incentive, like, give yourself a little incentive for finishing it, like, other than, yay, I'm going to get a good grade. Like, that should be an incentive, but, like, give yourself a reward. Maybe go grab a snack, something like that. Take a nap.
Right.
Yeah. And off of what you were saying about bouncing around, another way of procrastinating is just going between multiple tasks, because you can't multitask. Your brain can only focus on one task at a time. So when you have 3-4 assignments open and you're just kind of doing the simplest part from each and kind of bouncing around because you don't want to focus, that's just another way of procrastinating, because you're not getting a lot of real work done.
Right. To that point, I heard a podcast the other day. It's the Ed Milet podcast. Go check it out for sure.
The what one?
Ed Milet.
Ed?
Yep. Mylett, I think is how you spell it. Ed Milet. But he was talking about how he schedules, like, all of his, like, large, important meetings that maybe he might be a little bit apprehensive to do on Monday morning. He just gets them out of the way for the week so he doesn't have to, you know, like, worry about them. They don't have to, like, occupy a space in his mind at all for the rest of the week, because whether you realize it or not, if you have a messy room or if you have assignments piled up and you are procrastinating, that actually hurts you so much more, because it occupies, I mean, subconsciously, like, you're not really aware of it, but it occupies such a large space in your mind that it inhibits your productivity in other areas of your life. So if you just get the big things out of the way to start with, then you have so much more brain space, so much more energy, so much more time to do the other things, more important things in your life. So
That's brilliant.
I didn't come up with that.
It wasn't entirely your original idea.
No.
But no, really. I mean, it's true. We can only give our attention to so much. We only have so much energy. And if you have something hanging over your head that you know you need to do, and you know you need to do it, so you're conscious of it, but you're kind of avoiding it because you don't want to, that's actually sucking energy away from even the things that you are doing elsewhere.
Right. It's almost like decision fatigue in a way, that, like, you're so, like, hyper focused on, like, oh, I don't want to do it, that it's literally taking energy away from the things that you should be doing.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
So good. So good. All right. So for each of you, what is the current biggest challenge that you have? Like, you've managed this, you guys are older now, you've gotten through the early parts of high school. What's the biggest time management challenge that you think you're facing right now?
I would say I still sometimes underestimate how long something's going to take or how much effort it's going to take. Then I don't give it enough time. Then I end up stressing, because then, it takes away from sleep, it takes away from other fun activities. So I would say actively and accurately assigning how much time something's going to require, or giving it extra time even.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I still struggle to, like, look at my assignment when I get it. So, like, what Abbie was saying is, like, figuring out how much time it's going to take. I will, like, browse, kind of maybe, like, look at the name of the assignment, but won't actually, like, read the requirements and stuff. So I'll get a day or two before the deadline and be like, oh no, I need to complete this. This is going to take longer than I thought. So just make sure you're reading the assignments you're given, whether that means you're taking Kirkwood classes and you're reading the assignments in Talon, you're taking classes here at MHSAP, and you're getting your course syllabus, or it's just something that your parents have assigned you. Read through, figure out what is actually expected of you, and make sure you can figure out how long that's going to take you. And always remember, just because it took your friend or your sibling in that same class just an hour to do it, that doesn't mean it's only going to take you an hour. So figure out what it takes for you. Don't rely on someone else's time for your time.
I would say identifying your distractions and limiting them will, like, fix your whole life. Seriously.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Like for me, my distraction is probably like YouTube or something like that. Like it's on my computer and I know it's there, or Pinterest. I love Pinterest. It's on my computer. I know it's there. I am in the middle of a paper and I'm like, I'm jonesing for some like food videos right now, and I'll just like I'll just take it like a quick little break, and then like an hour or two later I'm still scrolling through those stupid YouTube shorts.
It's
and
so good.
yeah, I mean
it's not good, but I get it.
yeah.
I don't do it.
Oh, sure.
All right, last night I was watching
Right.
some comedy videos from the 60s, but I don't typically do
Right,
it.
no,
Okay?
I understand.
It was just last night.
Right. So I actually looked up on my computer today, like, how do you delete YouTube, like, completely? Because I need to get rid of it because it takes up, like, so much of my time. And it doesn't, like, materially affect any of my grades or any of my, like, things that I actually need to get done. But at the same time, it's just such a time waster. And I think you just identify your distractions and just eliminate them completely.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do not have self-control, like, to the degree with which you need to resist those distractions. So just eliminate them. Just get them out completely.
Yeah. Wow. That is, you've laid down the real challenge, which is in the world that we live in where there is so much distraction. Like when I was in school, YouTube was like looking out the window to watch the dog go by. That was the best we had, right? There was nothing to do to distract us. But you guys, and this is your world, it's not we should go back to that world. This is the world you live in. You are inundated with so much information, and so much of it is so much more interesting than the work you're supposed to be doing. And so the discipline required of people in your generation is much greater than it was for me.
Right.
It isn't that we were smarter or that we managed our time better. It wasn't that at all. But sometimes grown-ups will think it's that way. And I don't think they understand the amount of balls you guys have to keep in the air, not just with the work, not just with the activities and the jobs, but also with all of the information and synthesizing what's important and what isn't important, and how do I stay connected. I stayed connected. The only way I could stay connected with my friends was to go to school. It was the only place I could see them.
Right.
But how do I stay connected? How do I stay a part of the group? There's a lot of pressure, which creates stress, which makes me want to say two things to kind of end us out, and then you guys can comment on this if you want. One is that because there is so much more to manage, it is more stressful to manage the so much more. Like I think your generation has to deal with this in a more stressful way than other generations have had to. Would you agree with that? I mean, you didn't live in other generations, but your parents did, and your grandparents did. Would you agree with that?
I would. So, yeah.
I would. Yeah.
And so the other thing I want to say about that is that when we get sometimes the flip side of good time management is rigid perfectionism that you can never be successful with.
Right.
And people can collapse under the weight of their really good time management because they let one thing slip and it cracks the whole thing. I don't perceive that you guys are doing that, but do you know that, or have you experienced it, or do you know people who have been like, they are so rigid with their time management, it actually makes the stress worse?
I can't say I do.
You don't know anybody like that? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Don't name names, that would be weird.
Well, yeah, obviously not. I think, like, there are people I know that just struggle with it, and just figuring out, like, just the idea of trying to manage their time stresses them out so much more. That can happen to me sometimes even, and it's just like, okay, well, I gotta manage this, but I also don't have the time to do that because I have to do all this other stuff that I need to manage.
Yes.
I think just taking the time to be able to do that is really important. And oftentimes that might require someone else to help you. And my mom will often help me figure that out. And so that's something, use your parents as resources to help you when you need it.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Anything you want to add to that?
Honestly, I could kind of see myself as that, not to a dangerous extent, I guess, but like I'll have this perfect plan of how I want things to go and how much time everything's going to take, and then there was going to be this small wrench thrown in. Now all of a sudden I'm kind of overwhelmed by how much now has to be done in this certain amount of time that wasn't quite what I planned.
Yeah. So I think if I wanted to just give a word at the end, it would be, as your time management will help you escape the chaos of life and not feel overwhelmed. But if you get rigid about time management, it can contribute to the chaos because you're never going to be perfect. And so, yeah, work on your time management skills, get rid of as many distractions as you can, know yourself, figure out how to do transitions. Those will help you feel like you're in control. When we feel like we're in control, it reduces our stress. But if you need to be in control in order to feel that everything's okay, that can actually be counterproductive. So, the end of it, if time management is creating a lot of anxiety for you, you ought to talk to somebody about it. Either someone to help you come up with different strategies or manage the anxiety that your time management is producing. Because your parents care about you, you've got teachers and friends that care about you, and they will help. So this is great. That's so good. Thank you, ladies, for being a part of this. This is the Marian Homeschool Assistance Program Student Council Mental Health Podcast. And we'll be back next time with another episode. Thank you.